Hi, everyone. We are Linda and John, and welcome to the Learn English at Ease podcast.
Yes, welcome. We are so incredibly excited to have you join us today.
We really are. But hey, before we dive into the details today, we have a small favor to ask. If you want to support us and keep improving your English every single week, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Yeah, please do. It really helps our channel grow, and it makes sure you never miss a deep dive.
Exactly. So let's get into it. Today's deep dive is all about movies, but we aren't just going to talk about our favorite actors. We're looking at cinema as a social glue, right? Like, how do movies actually teach us about life?
Oh, it is such a fascinating topic because, we usually just sit in the dark, stare at the screen, and let the movie wash over us. It's a very passive experience most of the time.
Right, you just turned your brain off.
Exactly. But a movie is actually this meticulously engineered machine. I mean, every single lighting choice, every line of dialogue, it's all designed to manipulate your emotions.
And that is our mission today. We want to give you, our listeners, the framework of the vocabulary to really dissect your favorite films. By the way, to dissect something means to take it apart and examine it closely.
That's a great word to highlight. And when you learn how to dissect a film, your appreciation for it completely transforms. You start having these amazing, rich discussions long after the movie ends.
So true. But I think we have to start at the very foundation. Like, before the movie even begins, you have to know what kind of experience you're signing up for.
You mean the genre, right?
Yeah, exactly, the genre. And I think it's easy to just list them off, action, drama, comedy, sci-fi, thrillers. But genre is really more about an expectation.
It really is. It's almost like a psychological contract between the director and the audience. If you buy a ticket for an action movie, that contract guarantees you fast-paced excitement,
Right.
Lots of adrenaline.
Right, you expect the good guys to fight the bad guys.
Exactly. And a thriller promises to keep you on the edge of your seat, which for our English learners, on the edge of your seat is a fantastic idiom. It just means you are incredibly tense and excited to see what happens next.
I love that idiom. And sci-fi or science fiction promises something totally different. It uses space travel or like advanced technology to ask deep philosophical questions.
Yeah. It expands our reality.
I actually like to think of genres as a giant menu at a restaurant. What you pick completely depends on your emotional appetite in that specific moment.
Oh, that is a perfect way to describe it. Your emotional appetite.
Right. Because sometimes you want a heavy drama. You want the complex, bitter flavors of a serious story about real-life problems. But other times, man, your brain is just fried from a long work week.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
We all do. And when you're exhausted, you just want the cinematic equivalent of fast food. You want cheap thrills, car chases, or just the colorful escapism of an animated movie.
And that actually dictates our viewing habits so much more than we realize. We use movies to regulate our internal moods. Like, if you are feeling defeated, you naturally seek out inspiring stories.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. You want to see the underdog win against impossible odds.
Exactly, because your brain needs to simulate hope.
Mm.
Or if you're stressed, you throw in a comedy because laughter physically releases tension.
Which brings us to one of my favorite concepts, the comfort movie.
Yes, the comfort movie.
We all have one. It's that one movie you have seen like 50 times. You can quote every single line. You know exactly how it ends. But when you are sick or stressed out, it is the only thing you want to put on the TV.
It is so interesting from a psychological standpoint because a comfort movie completely contradicts the whole point of storytelling.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, normally we watch a story because of suspense. We want to discover what happens next. But with a comfort movie, the predictability is the actual goal.
Oh, right. You already know the ending.
Exactly. When your real life feels totally chaotic and unpredictable, your brain craves cognitive ease. Going back to a movie where you know exactly what is going to happen gives you this profound sense of safety.
That makes so much sense. You aren't watching it to be surprised. You're watching it to feel grounded, to feel safe.
Precisely. So, okay, let's say we've picked our genre. We know what emotional state we need, what actually makes the movie good, what separates a total flop from a masterpiece.
We have to look at the anatomy of the film itself, and I think we have to start with the skeleton, which is the plot.
The plot, yes. The actual sequence of events.
Right. And you can have a really simple plot or a wildly complex one, but the thing people talk about the most is the plot twist.
Ah, I love a good plot twist.
Me too. For our listeners, a plot twist is a completely unexpected revelation in the story that forces you to rethink everything you just watched.
But, and this is a big so, but a plot twist only works if the foundation is actually solid.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
If the writer just throws in a surprise ending out of nowhere, like they just say, it was all a dream, it feels so incredibly cheap.
It really does. A masterful twist leaves clues along the way. But honestly, even the best plot in the world falls completely flat if you don't care about the characters.
Character development is everything. It is the muscle attached to the skeleton of the plot.
It really is. Character development is just seeing a person grow internally because of what happens to them externally.
Right, like if a character starts off super selfish, the story forces them into situations where being selfish costs them something, and by the end, maybe they make a huge sacrifice.
That growth is what gives the movie meaning. And you know what the worst thing a writer can do is?
What? Make them boring?
Make them too perfect.
Oh, yes. Flawless heroes are the worst.
They are painfully boring. The characters that actually stick with us are deeply flawed. They make terrible choices. They get impatient. They lie.
Because that is human. Those flaws are the hooks that let us relate to them. If a character starts off perfect, they have absolutely zero room to grow.
Exactly. But, you know, even with a brilliant script and great characters, cinema is a visual medium. We have to talk about cinematography.
Cinematography is so crucial. It's basically the art of visually translating the script, the lighting, the camera angles, the colors.
A great director of photography can make every frame look like a beautiful painting. But it's not just about looking pretty.
No, it sends emotional data to your brain. Like if a character feels lonely, the camera might pull way back and show them sitting alone in this massive empty room.
Yes. And when you pair that visual with the right soundtrack, the emotional effect just compounds.
Music is a cheat code for emotions. It bypasses the logical part of your brain completely.
It really does. If you watch a sad scene on mute, it's just two actors talking. It's kind of awkward.
Oh.
But fade in a slow, sad violin track.
Moo. Everyone is crying. The music dictates the reality of the scene.
Which naturally brings us to a huge point of debate right now in the industry. Special effects.
Oh boy. Computer-generated imagery. CGI. I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Let's hear them.
Well, I just have to push back on modern movies a bit. It feels like studios rely way too heavily on special effects to hide terrible writing.
You think they use it as a mask?
Absolutely. They throw hundreds of millions of dollars at digital explosions. But the core story is totally empty. It's all style over substance. Which is a great phrase for our learners, by the way. Style over substance means it looks good, but has no real meaning or value.
That is a perfect phrase for this. Special effects should just be the icing on the cake. They are decorations.
Right.
Studio executives seem to think that visual spectacle automatically equals audience engagement. But visual spectacle causes sensory fatigue really fast.
It gets boring. If you have an empty plot and ridiculous dialogue, a hyper-realistic computer-generated monster doesn't fix the movie.
Not at all. You might be visually stimulated for 10 minutes, but without human connection, you just zone out.
I have literally seen people walk out of the cinema 30 minutes into a huge blockbuster movie because the acting was so wooden. The script was awful.
Because if you don't care about the character, you do not care about the digital monster chasing them.
Exactly. The audience is always running this unconscious authenticity check. If the human element fails, all the digital effects are worthless.
Absolutely. Now, that actually leads us to something else that completely changes how we perceive a film. And it has nothing to do with the movie itself.
Oh, you mean the environment where we actually watch it?
Yes. The physical space completely alters the message. Let's compare the classic cinema experience with watching a movie at home.
They are two totally different worlds. Going to the cinema is a ritual. You sit in a dark room with strangers, staring at a massive screen. The sound system literally makes your chair vibrate.
You are completely immersed.
Right. You buy the expensive ticket, you get the ridiculously overpriced popcorn.
Yeah.
Because honestly, watching a movie without popcorn feels illegal.
It really does. But the trade-off for that spectacle is the cost and the inconvenience. You have to drive there, find parking.
Whereas at home, you trade that immersion for supreme comfort. You are in your pajamas on your own couch.
And you can pause the movie to go grab a drink. Plus, it's virtually free if you already have a streaming subscription.
But that comfort has a pretty big cost, doesn't it?
It costs you your focus.
Yeah.
At home, your phone is sitting right next to you. The lights might be on. The dog is barking.
The distractions are endless. But home viewing does allow for entirely new habits, like the movie marathon.
Oh, I love a good movie marathon.
Same. Just spending a lazy Sunday devouring 3 action movies back to back.
Yeah.
We call that binge watching in English.
Binge watching is such a common term now, and people have routines, like a dedicated Friday movie night. It becomes a temporal landmark. It signals to your brain, okay, the work week is over, time to relax.
But sometimes that relaxation gets completely hijacked by the genre you choose. The environment amplifies the movie.
Oh, for sure. Give me an example.
Okay, picture this. It's midnight. You are exhausted. You have to wake up early for work. But you put on a brilliant thriller, and you're watching it alone in the dark.
Oh, no. That's a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. The suspense is unbearable. You have this agonizing internal battle where your logical brain is screaming, "Go to sleep!" But you refuse to turn it off because you have to know who the killer is.
But think about it. If you watched that exact same thriller on a sunny Tuesday afternoon with 3 friends chatting on the couch, it wouldn't be scary at all.
Not even a little bit.
The isolation and the darkness of the midnight environment amplify that psychological tension.
On the flip side, watching a comedy in a packed movie theater makes it objectively funnier.
Yes. Because laughter is a social reflex. It's contagious. Hearing other people laugh validates your own amusement.
But if you want to watch a really heavy, demanding drama, being alone at home might actually be better. It lets you be totally emotionally vulnerable without worrying about strangers seeing you try.
That makes total sense. Now, speaking of how we watch things, we have to talk about language and subtitles.
Yes, this is so important for our listeners.
Watching a foreign film with subtitles isn't just about reading the words. It is a massive shift in perspective.
It really is. Hollywood has this very strict formula for how a story should be structured. But when you watch international cinema, the rhythm of the dialogue and the cultural values change completely.
It forces your brain to process narratives in a totally new way. And for anyone learning English, using English audio with English subtitles is the ultimate hack.
It bridges the gap between hearing the word and seeing how it's spelled. It exposes you to the natural cadence of real conversation, rather than a stiff textbook.
Definitely. I highly recommend that to everyone listening. Turn those subtitles on.
Okay, so the movie ends, the screen goes black, the credits roll, but the experience of the movie isn't actually over, is it?
Not at all. The aftermath, how a film lives on in the culture and in our conversations, is arguably the most important part.
Let's start with the business side of the aftermath. Sequels and franchises.
Sequels are mechanically very tricky because a standalone movie is designed to resolve its conflict. The hero fixes their flaw, the story ends.
So when a studio demands a sequel, the writers have a huge problem. The character's already fixed.
Exactly. Which is why so many sequels are incredibly frustrating. They have to artificially ruin the main character's life just to give them an excuse to go on another adventure.
It feels like a blatant cash grab. And a cash grab just means a product created purely to make money, with no real artistic value.
It usually happens when studio executives look at a spreadsheet, see the first movie made a ton of money, and demand a second one, even if there is no story left to tell.
But when sequels actually work, they are amazing.
Yes, that's when you get true world building. The writers use the characters to dive deeper into the universe and ask bigger questions.
And this tension between art and making money brings up the idea of a box office hit.
Just because a movie makes $1 billion globally doesn't mean it's actually a good film.
No. And that is the eternal divide between professional critics and the general audience.
It is so funny to look at review websites. You will see a movie with a 95% rating from critics and a 30% rating from the audience, or vice versa.
So who do we trust? Should we trust the critics, or is the audience the only metric that matters?
Honestly, neither metric is wrong. They're just measuring totally different things.
Oh, so.
Well, professional critics evaluate technical execution. They watch hundreds of movies a year, so their threshold for something feeling new is incredibly high. They hate cliches.
Right. They want perfect cinematography and original themes. But the audience is just measuring entertainment value and emotional payoff.
Exactly. If someone works a grueling 40-hour week, they might not want to sit through a slow-paced, award-winning indie drama.
No, they want to see a giant robot punch a monster.
Right. And the critic gives it 1 star because the dialogue is terrible, but the audience gives it 5 stars because the punch looked awesome.
It is entirely subjective, and that subjectivity makes the social aspect of movies so volatile.
Recommending a movie to a friend is a high-stakes social interaction.
It is genuinely stressful. You watch a masterpiece, you tell your friend, you absolutely must watch this.
And then you sit next to them on the couch while it plays, constantly side-eyeing them to see if they're laughing at the right parts.
Yes. And when it ends, they just shrug and say, it was boring.
It is devastating. It feels like a personal rejection.
Why does it hurt so much, though? It's just a movie.
Because our cinematic tastes are linked to our core values. When you connect with a film, you are connecting with its deep philosophical truth. So when a friend dismisses it, it feels like they are dismissing a part of your worldview.
Wow, that is so true. But if everyone agreed on every movie, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. The friction of disagreement is what makes movies the ultimate social tool.
Think about all those parking lot debates.
Yes. Standing in the cold for 30 minutes after leaving the cinema, intensely debating an ambiguous ending.
Was he dreaming? Did she survive?
Was the hero actually the villain?
In those moments, you aren't really talking about the movie anymore. You are using the film as a proxy to discuss real-world morality and philosophy.
You learn so much about your friends. You learn how they process grief or how they view justice just based on how they interpreted the film.
Movies give us a shared vocabulary. They give us a safe sandbox to explore profound concepts that would be super awkward to just bring up out of nowhere at dinner.
Pass the salt. And by the way, what is your view on the inherent evil of humanity?
Exactly. It doesn't work. But talk about a movie, and suddenly it's a natural conversation.
That is the real magic of cinema. Well, to bring this all together, the framework we've built today really changes how you can consume media.
We covered a lot of ground. We started with the emotional appetite that drives our genre choices and the psychological safety of comfort movies.
We broke down the anatomy of a film, how plot twists and flawed characters are essential, and how CGI is useless without a good script.
We looked at the environment, contrasting the grand ritual of the cinema with the focused isolation of watching a midnight thriller at home.
And finally, we navigated the aftermath. The tricky nature of cash grab sequels, the divide between critics and audiences, and the beauty of those parking lot debates.
So the next time you sit down to watch a film, you are no longer a passive viewer. You have the tools to see exactly how the director is pulling the strings.
You'll know why a visual blockbuster felt empty, or why a simple indie film left you in tears. But as we close out this deep dive, there is one final lingering thought we want to leave you with.
We talked a lot about the comfort movie, that one film you return to over and over when life is overwhelming.
We said these films act as a psychological mirror. They reflect our deepest unspoken needs for safety and control. So if the media we obsessively consume reflects our internal architecture, what does your ultimate favorite movie reveal about you?
Oh, that is a great question to reflect on.
We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this. Please leave a comment down below with your favorite comfort movie and what you think it says about you.
And don't forget to check out our next episode to keep improving your English.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Learn English at Ease. We're Linda and John signing off. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Keep learning.